Alright, baby. That is your Grandpa Brunner. I swear you got a little bit of his spirit in you somehow. That is your Grandpa Brunner. He's passed away. He actually, hi. Daddy Brunner's here. Hi. It's October 26th. It's Father's Day, Tuesday, October 26th. It's been a big and busy day. I've had a lot of things going on with work and home and playing and hunting and everything. We think that your Grandpa Brunner died on October 26th, the night of October 26th. Late in the night, maybe 11:30 p.m. He had had a heart procedure several months before that, and the doctors did not, they said there was no heart, there was no issue with his heart. We think he died of an aneurysm. A blood vessel pops in your body and you bleed on the inside. Anyway, it's October 26th, and that's your grandfather Brunner. George was his name, and he had actually had a paddle here. He had a paddle from his days at Purdue University. Purdue. We were a little bit scared of that paddle growing up, and hopefully you don't need to see this thing ever, but occasionally kids do, and that's how it goes. And then when you become an adult, you don't. Anyway, we think he died on October 26th. That would be his. Today would be the anniversary of his death, and it's 2021. So this would have been, believe it or not, 13 years ago. So a long time. So that's him. Anyway, Father's Day, and his co-worker, a good friend of his, had written a little letter. I think I'll record here for posterity reasons. It says, "Here's a few interesting facts about George Brunner that you may not know. George may have been the very smartest person ever at the gas company." That's where he worked. "I say that in all honesty. When we first got personal computers, I wanted to write a program that would run the Panhandle pipeline flow formulas instead of using the ancient round slide rules. But before I could do that, the formula had to be broken down into language appropriate for a computer, solving for any of the 5 variables, which really ended up with 5 different formulas. No one person in the Indianapolis engineering department could do it. I couldn't even come close. And then George Brunner came along. I mentioned it to him one day, and he brought me the formulas the next, and they were perfect. I remember when his supervisor went for his professional engineer's test, it took him 3 times to pass it. George aced it the first time. I never heard George utter a swear word or say anything against anyone, and I never saw him when he didn't have a smile and a handshake. He was the nephew of Red McGuire, one of the early leaders of the Indiana Gas and Water Company. And these are just a couple things I recall about George. One of the good guys." Jim West, Indiana Gas. That was October 29th, 2008. And so there he is. My dad. I love him very much. He and I didn't always agree and approach on things, but he had a pretty rough life. In some ways, his father died very young, when he was 8 years old. He had acquired Agent Orange. He had been exposed to Agent Orange in the war. He was a Marine, so he was a pretty tough man. And that's your great-grandfather, my father's father. And then my father's mother, your great-grandmother, was killed in a train accident when Dad was 9. And so he became an orphan, essentially, and he lived with our great Aunt Lou, Aunt Lulu, and I can show you pictures of her sometime. Great Aunt Lou, she also died. She died in 2010, And we called her Granny Lou because she was kind of our grandma. And then Dad had a sister, Candace, and they were raised by Granny Lou. And Granny Lou didn't have a husband. She had a dog, Claude Pup. And Candace, my aunt, your great aunt, passed away a few years ago, 2015. So she's since passed away. And that happens sometimes. We have to talk about those things, and we have to prepare for them, and we have to deal with them. And we have to continue to love the people we miss and miss the people that we love. And that's just how it goes. We can do service to them, though, and we do. And we do love them. Here's a picture of Daddy next to his father's casket at the cemetery on the day he was buried. There you are. We really liked that casket. It was cherry with the death of Christ on it. And there I am looking on. And then here I am and your Uncle Scott and Matthew behind him. And there I am carrying the casket out of the hearse, and Scott's looking on to me. Your Uncle Scott. And so there we are. There he's winking at us today. He's winking at us today. He had a debonair about him. He had a cane there, and he just had kind of a weird timing. He had impeccable timing for certain things, and that's why I like that picture of him, because he was winking at the camera. And so here we are. Sometimes we love the people we miss, and sometimes we miss the people we love. And the good news is we get new ones. You and I are now new, and we get to hopefully someday be with one another and see each other, and where we don't have to miss each other. It's October 26th. It's Father's Day. It's also the anniversary of your grandfather's passing. I'm winking at you.